Okay, good evening. I'd like to call the North Aurora Village Board meeting for Monday, January 17th, 2022 to order. Please join me in silent prayer and meditation. Okay, thank you. Please join me in a pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance.
United States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call, please.
Trustee Gately, here. Trustee Nedved,
here.
Trustee Carroll,
Here.
Mayor Gaffino,
Here.
Trustee Curtis, Trustee Lowry,
Here.
and Trustee Salazar.
Here.
All right, thank you. Is there any audience comments? Anybody speak? Seeing none, motion for consent.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Gately? Yes. Trustee Carroll?
Yes.
Trustee Nedved?
Yes.
Trustee Curtis? I'm sorry, Trustee Lowry
Yes.
and Trustee Salazar.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Under new business, item 1, John.
Thank you, Mayor. This item is the approval of an agreement with Williams Architects for the Public Works Facility Design Services in the amount of $961,093. In order to design and construct a public works facility, the village needs to assemble a team of architects, engineers, and construction managers. If you recall, in past meetings, we've already hired WBK to be that consulting civil engineer for us. The next step of the process is to hire an architect who will then help us identify a qualified construction manager, and that could construct the facility. This agreement that we have today is an agreement with the architect that's going to be paid at an hourly rate and by lump sum. So 85% of the contract is going to be by hourly rate, and that's going to be work designing the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems as well as the major structural elements. The lump sum cost of the contract is more for subcontractors and would be used for low voltage electric and the validation study review, as well as the circulation examination at the facility. So what's included in the architect's design services are 6 different phases. The first phase is validation. And again, that phase is just a review of the space needs study, taking a look at it, seeing if the recommendations of that study are still hold true, if there's other options out there in today's market where supply chain issues are running rampant. There's a chance that the study may have underestimated the cost of the building. Then the validation stage would then be whatever the result of that stage would be presented to the board, and we'd follow up and communicate that to you. The second phase would be schematic design. It's just a preliminary design, and it's used by the construction manager to kind of get a better understanding of the cost of the overall project. The next step would be design development, where whatever that concept was designed in that previous step is now thoroughly developed, and plans and specifications can be used to develop contract documents. The contract documents are the 4th phase, which leads into the 5th phase, which is bidding. So that's when we take the contract documents, put them out, and we start getting prices for what a new building or a reconstruct or an addition might look like. And the final phase of that contract would be the construction phase. So that's when the architect kind of just supervises the construction that's being performed by the construction manager. So this is a fairly big expense for design. This is the most money I've ever seen that I've worked with spent on design. So in order to make sure that this cost was in line with what we would expect, we took a look at it from 2 different ways. We looked at other facilities that were built recently and saw what charges what costs were associated with that. So we looked at Montgomery's facility that was just recently let, and Williams is actually doing the design for that facility as well. The cost that Montgomery's paying right now is just over $1 million for a 54,000 square foot facility. And the estimate we received for about a $46,000 facility was $960,000. So those numbers line up pretty good. The second way we took a look at it in the office was from an engineering standpoint, and that's kind of the only reference point we had other than the reference from Montgomery to look at it. And what we did is we looked at what kind of engineering costs we usually spend on a road program. So we look and see that I think it's a $2 million road program. Typically, we're spending approximately for about $230,000 in engineering fees. So we're assuming that the cost there for engineering services based on a road program is about 12% of the cost of the project. When we look at the architectural services to compare that percentage, we're looking at roughly about 8% if we assume the building were to be in the neighborhood of $10 to $12 million. So looking at this agreement from those two cost perspectives, it seems to be in alignment with what we should expect. And we've had good recommendations from the work that Williams has done on the Montgomery facility. So it'd be the recommendation of staff at this point to award the agreement to Williams Architects for the public works facility design services in the amount of $961,093. Motion approved.
Second,
Discussion?
I should say one quick thing. This is an estimated amount, as John said earlier. The contract, because it's such a large volume, if something changes scope wise, it could fluctuate. There might be savings in the long run. It might actually go up a little bit. If it goes beyond this price, we obviously have our purchasing policy that we follow, and that kind of guides us on how to go forward with any expenditures beyond that point. Plus, the contract actually stipulates how they would submit any of the additional costs to us.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Oh, sorry. Trustee Gately?
Yes.
Trustee Carroll?
Yes.
Trustee Nedved?
Yes.
Trustee Lowry?
Yes.
And Trustee Salazar?
yes,
All right, thank you. Item 2, Bill.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Item 2 is approval of an ordinance amending Title II, Administration and Personnel of the North Aurora Village Code, establishing an administrative hearing procedure for assessing and determining claims under the Public Safety Employee Benefits Act, PSEBA. The PSEBA Act was passed by the state in 1997. The act requires employers to pay the full cost of health insurance premiums for full-time law enforcement, correctional officers, or firefighters who suffer a catastrophic injury or are killed in the line of duty. It's also required to pay those costs for spouses and dependent children up to a certain point. In passing this law, the state didn't really define what catastrophic injury means, and that's been litigated over the years. Case law since that time has since determined that awarding a line of duty disability pension is one of the criteria to consider when considering PSEBA benefits. The second criteria is defined in the statute and says the injury must have occurred in one of 4 contexts. Was it a response to fresh pursuit? Was it a response to what is reasonably believed to be an emergency? Was it an unlawful act perpetrated by another? Or was it participation during the investigation of a criminal act? So essentially it's a 2-prong test to determine the eligibility for PSEBA benefits for public safety and firefighters. The village has never had a case or an applicant for PSEBA benefits ever since the act was passed in 1997. Since that time, the courts have determined that it is allowed and appropriate for municipalities to adopt a procedure to deal with a PSEBA case in case one ever actually came up. And so we took we decided were the best practices from different towns in terms of dealing with this possibility. And we put together an ordinance which adopts what we think is a fair procedure to deal with PSEBA cases as they may come up from time to time. Given that there are some cases before the North Aurora Police Pension Board currently, we felt it's appropriate to get a PSEBA procedure on the books ahead of those cases being decided. Quick summary on the ordinance. Essentially, an applicant has to file an application for perceived benefits with the village administrator's office. And where it goes from there is the village administrator has a certain amount of time to consider the application and can either approve it or deny it. If the application is approved, essentially the procedure stops. If the administrator declines the application, that sets forth the administrative procedure and opportunity for the applicant to appeal that decision through the appointment of a hearing officer, and that hearing officer being empowered to go through certain steps to help make a determination on that. In the event placebo benefits are awarded, the village, as is consistent with other municipalities that have outlined procedure, the placebo health plan would be the lowest cost plan that the village offers in terms of premiums. If the applicant winds up wanting a different plan that costs more, they would simply pay the difference back to the village to be on that plan. Couple more notes. There are some biannual reporting requirements that are required of the village. The Commission on Governmental Forecasting and Accountability sets forth biennial reporting requirements for the village to coordinate with the applicant and then reporting that stuff to the commission. We left a link in the memo in case that be of interest to the board members. It kind of details a lot of information about communities that currently have placebo benefits and are paying those types of benefits currently. So we brought this directly to the village board because like we said before, there are a number of cases before the North Aurora Police Pension Board, depending on how those turn out. The village may or may not have an application for placebo benefits in the near future. So that's my, not really high level summary, but summary of the ordinance. Attorney Drendel or Steve, anything to add, but I guess if there's any questions.
Motion to approve. Second.
Discussion? Bosco, call the roll, please.
Trustee Salazar,
yes,
trustee Lowry,
Yes.
trustee Carroll,
Yes.
trustee Nedved,
Yes.
and trustee Gately.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Item 3, Steve.
Thank you. Item number 3 on the agenda is, let's see here, is our annual fireworks contract. And this year you'll notice it's with Pyrotechnico. It's formerly Melrose Pyrotechnics. So it's the same company. Pyrotechnico, to our knowledge, has bought Melrose, or they're merging. So our contract is with Pyrotechnico. It is for the July 3rd fireworks program. The past few years, we've had it in Riverfront Park. This contract assumes that as of right now, we don't have a location determined, although we are planning for it to be at Riverfront Park again. We simply are just doing some additional due diligence to see if there are locations that still are utilizing the viewing area from Riverfront Park. Because of some of the comments we had from the birds last year, we are looking, or regarding the birds last year and the nesting sites, we are looking on behalf of the park district to see if there are any locations in this area that would still allow us to fire off fireworks from the park area before we ask them for permission to use their property again if we can't find another site. So with that being said, like I said, we are looking for the new contract, which is going to go up to about $3,750 from $25,000 to $28,750 due to increase in costs. And as of right now, we are planning for North Aurora Riverfront Park to be the site.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Trustee Gately,
Yes.
trustee Nedved,
Yes.
trustee Carroll,
Yes.
trustee Lowry,
Yes.
and trustee Salazar.
yes,
All right, thank you. Under village president report, I have 2 items. First item is I'd like to appoint 2 members to the North Aurora Days Committee, Lynn Miller and Julie Schumacher. They both showed interest this fall and to be involved, and I think they'd be a good fit.
Do you need a motion to approve or just?
Just a roll call vote or motion or?
Yeah, there should be a motion. So it's appointment with advice and consent of the board. And traditionally, we do a roll call off for advice and consent, but because we have remote.
So just do roll call. No motions needed or anything.
Pardon?
No motion is needed or anything.
Yeah, there should be a motion.
I make a
Well,
motion that we appoint, Lynn Miller and Julie Schumacher.
I second it.
Trustee Salazar,
Yes.
trustee Lowry,
Yes.
trustee Carroll,
Yes.
trustee Nedved,
Yes.
and trustee Gately.
Yes.
All right, thank you. My other item is, I believe, Bill Hannah's last meeting is tonight. So I'd like to just publicly thank you for all your hard work and effort for the last 15 years. I think when I became a trustee, you were just coming on as our first full-time finance director. And, you know, we never had to worry about, I never did anyway, ethically and the professionalism that, you know, you brought to the office. And it goes a long way. A lot of them days, North Aurora days, we were out 2, 3 in the morning working, and, you know, the job, you never know what it entails, you know, so wish you the best.
Thank you.
I'm sure you'll do well in St. Charles. We'll miss you, but yeah, it'll just be a stone throws away.
I'll be around.
I'd like to follow up with the mayor's comments too on, I'm really going to miss you, Bill. You're pleasant, easygoing, extremely competent. And I think that St. Charles is very, very lucky to be getting someone with your quality and your personality. On the other side, I'm a little hurt that you're leaving us, but oh well, I guess you got to move on. So God bless you and the best to you, Bill.
Yeah, I'd like to wish you well, Bill. I've been around a long time, and on behalf of most of the people I know in North Aurora, you know, there's a lot of things that get done with, you know, what we do, and people really don't know all the hard work that's put into it. But we certainly really appreciated your hard efforts through many years. So thank you for that, and good luck. Godspeed, buddy.
Bill, I want to wish you the best of luck in your new job. They are getting a real prize in getting you, and we will miss you and really appreciate everything you've done and been so superior in your role that I've heard of. I've just been with the board for a year, but I work with you on the North Aurora Days Committee, and you will be missed. But you know, don't be a stranger. Drop by and see us every once and again.
I would agree.
Congratulations.
Bill, we're gonna miss you. You've been awesome since I've been on the board and planning commission. Just been a very solid and, like Mike said, competent. And we've always been well informed, and your presentations are amazing. And I wish you the best. St. Charles's gain is definitely our loss, but we'll miss you.
Thank you.
Bill, you're leaving some big shoes to fill, buddy. I've only been around on the board for a few months, but in the village for 20. I've lived here for 20 years. You've done a wonderful job. So good luck, and good luck on everything.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. Administrative report.
Yep, I would like to echo those sentiments. So I've worked with Bill for obviously the 8+ years I've worked with the village, and obviously I work with Bill every day, and his financial capabilities are not only highly respected by other communities, but by everybody on our staff. We've had countless, numerous, long-winded, as I tend to be, conversations about complicated issues over these 8 years. And Bill is just the analytics, his ability to see through problems it's going to be sorely missed. I enjoy all the conversations we have about life in general, and I hope that you do. Everything you've done here has been great, and I'm sure it's going to be the same in St. Charles, and we'll definitely miss you, and we wish you the very best in your new job.
I'd like to add some probably didn't know, but Bill wore the human resource hat too. So, you know, he had a lot going on, and you've done a real good job. So, All right, department reports.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple of things. I guess my last work-related point I wanted to make was the United States Treasury issued final rules last week regarding the use of ARPA funds. As a reminder, the village is receiving about $2.45 million over the next 2 years There was some significant changes in terms of what the Treasury is allowing in terms of revenue lost. If you remember, the funds could be used for a wide variety of purposes, both government services generally as a category, if you were able to document revenue loss. That was a very complicated calculation you had to make, and our preliminary understanding was that the village did not incur revenue loss, hence the funds could only be used for very specified purposes, which is why when we had the discussion, we eventually got to the point of saying the best use for these funds likely is with removal of lead service lines. What the Treasury announced in their updated rules was that any recipient can take an automatic 10 million sort of exemption and determine that the first 10 million of any funds you receive could be considered revenue loss if you don't want to go through that calculation. So that means even if communities receive less than 10 million, any number, the entire amount essentially can be considered as revenue loss, even if you weren't able to work your way through those calculations. So what that means is that it potentially opens the door for the village to consider applying the funds for other purposes. Doesn't mean that they can't still use the funds as the intended purpose for lead service replacement lines. It just opens up the options to apply those funds to different things. And in the event the lead service line replacement programs less than what the funds we were getting, you could potentially apply those funds in different ways. So just wanted to bring that up and mention that to the board. Also, I just want to say, obviously, goodbye as my last meeting. As Mark had said, I've been here 15, 16 years, and I've seen a lot of changes. It's been a pleasure to work with so many different elected officials over the years, starting with the group we had in 2005 and going forward through the years. Like Mark said, I think we kind of came on almost at the same time. We've been through some really good financial times, and we've also been through some difficult financial times. I think back to the 2008 Great Recession and how the effects of that really lasted a good 5-6 years. So we've been through some difficult times. We've had difficult challenges to address, and we had to think creatively and out of the box. And I think we came through it pretty well. I'm happy where North Aurora is financially as a community, and you guys are well positioned for addressing your operating and capital needs going forward. So I think you're in a good position. You've got a good management team here, so I think you guys are going to be fine. I just want to thank my staff, especially Mandy. I've worked with her for 16 years. I want to thank all of them for doing their job well, because without that, it would be a lot harder on me to do my job as well. So I want to thank them, all the department heads here, the administrator, working together as a team. I think that means more than you can think when we're all kind of cooperatively working towards the same goal, and keeping that in mind. Thank you, Kevin, and everyone in your office for your help over the years. And I just want to say thank you again for the opportunity to work here. It's been a pleasure. Like you said, I'm looking forward to new challenges and opportunities, but I'm going to miss everyone here a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other department heads?
Yeah, I just want to thank Bill for his service to the village. I thank you as a resident for always having a balanced budget. I've known you since pretty much the day you walked through the door. And thank you for being a great coworker.
Yeah, I kind of want to do the same too. He's a true professional and just a good person. A lot of those complicated, incentive agreements that came through, I always presented them, but this guy always did the heavy lifting. So definitely going to miss him, but he's going to do great there, and just a great person.
This is probably by far one of the best municipalities I've worked for from an infrastructure standpoint, and that could be directly associated with the work that Bill's done here. I'm positioning you guys financially, us financially, in a way where we can maintain the roads, the water main, the sanitary sewers. The proof is out there. All you gotta do is drive our roads and then drive some of the neighboring communities, and that's all kind of Bill's work right there, putting the money where it needs to be. So he's very talented, and he's gonna do well in St. Charles. Good luck.
All right, it's unanimous. All right, I think that's it. A motion adjourned. There'll be no call meeting afterwards.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have to do roll call.
Yes, trustee Gately,
Yes.
trustee Nedved,
Yes.
trustee Carroll,
Yes.
trustee Lowry,
Yes.
and trustee Salzar.
Yes,
All right, thank you. Good night, everyone.
good night.
Good
Good
night.
night, everybody. Good night, Bill.
Good night.